Good morning, LinkedIn family. It is a welcome Wednesday, and I always love having people that I've recently connected with on Coffee with Bob on a welcome Wednesday because it seems appropriate. So today we have Dr. Irene Kopp with us, who is working on a whole bunch of really cool things, including what she calls the Shift Initiative, and she's going to tell us all about that. Hopefully I said that right. If you're not connected to, if you're not following her, or if you're not engaging with Dr. Irene, you really need to. She is probably one of the best kept secrets on LinkedIn out there today. And some of her posts are just stunningly amazing. And I really enjoy, and I'm very honored that she decided to be on Coffee with Bob today. Dr. Irene, thank you so much for being on Coffee with Bob. I really appreciate it. Why don't you give us a little flavor of who you are?
Hey, thank you so much for having me here, Bob. I really, truly appreciate an opportunity to talk with you and meet your community as well. So I am Dr. Irene, and because of my own catastrophic burnout, that was it was a number of years ago, but it seems like yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm passionate about helping purpose-driven high achievers bounce back from burnout and achieve their highest level of success without sacrificing their health, their energy, their relationships, or personal life. And I do this by helping them upgrade their operating systems programming, both on a conscious and an unconscious level, as well as correcting their and optimizing their energy efficiency. And that is it in a nutshell. And part of that is not about me doing things. Like, I've been a doctor for over 25 years. And for most of that time, I was, the one laying on the hands, doing the work to heal someone else. And I'm all about teaching a man how to fish and feeding him for a lifetime rather than just giving him a fish and feeding him for a day. So part of that success without sacrifice is empowering others to self-heal. So I have a podcast called Self-Heal with Dr. Irene and a number of other programs and initiatives. And the Global Shift Initiative is part of that. And I call it that because SHIFT actually stands for Self-Healing Innovations Fast Forwarding Transformation. And it is, again, all about empowering as many people as possible on a global scale to really improve every single aspect of their lives and well-being, and having the time of their life doing it, right? Because it's all about the journey. So even teaching them that even when life seems to be going down the crapper, you can still find things to appreciate and enjoy about the journey.
Yeah, and that's always the most difficult, especially in this day and age, right? And when in the COVID, I mean, we're still in the COVID era, right? When
Yes.
when things can seem so desperately down and like you can't get out of that crapper, so to speak.
Absolutely. Some of the special populations that I help, of course, being a healthcare provider, I have a soft spot, in my heart for healthcare providers, frontline responders, and because they're under, even without COVID, they're under an extra level of stress and strain, because they feel that calling to keep pushing themselves and pushing themselves to help more and more and more, putting themselves through sometimes insane hours. Like, look at medical residency.
Yeah.
Like, who in their right minds would even agree to that? Right? Let alone everything else. And COVID has just added that extra lovely layer of, that straw that broke the camel's back. So already before COVID, doctors, nurses, police officers were probably there were surveys that showed that they were at least 50% burned out. That was them admitting it, which means, based on my own experience and working with them, that there's a whole bunch that didn't admit it,
Right.
and even to themselves. I know I didn't want to admit it to myself. I thought I was on top of the world. So COVID now at least has opened that dialogue, has opened the dialogue. So in my medical speak, I'll kind of gross here for a second. It's like when you have a wound, there are times where you have to like rip the Band-Aid off the wound and really like get rid of the gunk, you know, that kind of yucky gunk I'm talking about, that is hiding the true issue. And this is an opportunity for us if we choose to look at it this way, so that even though burnout rates are now skyrocketing, 90% or higher, suicide rates are skyrocketing, it is also a tremendous opportunity for us to start this courageous dialogue that has been hidden, that frontline responders and healthcare providers and other purpose-driven high achievers have not wanted to admit to themselves or others, because there's been this huge, massive stigma around, oh, you're weak, you're a failure, you don't have what it takes. What do you mean you're burned out? You're just a little tired, are you? You're just trying to take one on the system, right? There's so much BS around that. And so I'm really appreciating this opportunity to be here. And as you can tell, it's like I'm all fired up. It's like, I love this topic.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, you know, one of the things that it's near and dear to my heart, because my daughter-in-law is a nurse, and she's one of those level 1 trauma nurses, and she's also back in school to get her nurse practitioners. Hopefully that's the right term, and she's watching.
Absolutely.
Tell me. So the amount of stress that she's under, and she works at a hospital where COVID seems to be spiking all the time. Even now, things are kind of cutting back a little bit, but she's in an area where it's still kind of spiking. I mean, so what you're doing is just simply amazing.
Well, thank you. And much appreciation to your daughter for, you know, what she's doing, and all of her coworkers, because they are just going through so much. And I'm here to support them and your daughter every step of the way.
Yeah. And that's incredible. And I think I've listened to a couple of your podcasts already. And awesome. I love the way the advice that you give is just practical, and it's so teaching, and it's so authentic and real. It's just amazing to me. And where you're someone who could really talk at a very high, at least my opinion, talk at a very high level that would almost sort of be like, what to people, but you're so relatable.
Well, thank you. Thank you. And I attribute that to my farmer background. And I've never wanted to be anyone who is holier than thou. In fact, my Facebook groups and my dedicated Facebook groups are called Clear the BS or Clear Your Success BS for healthcare providers and frontline responders. And I call it that, not just for the shock value. It's, you know, yes, I'm a farmer. We can talk about the brown stuff too. Sure. But it's the limiting belief systems and fears and other programming that are keeping you stuck, that are just weighing you down and dragging you down. And as a farmer, I do believe in being a straight shooter. In other words, you know, serving it up with a huge dose of love, and I'm going to hold you accountable. If I need to be the mama bear, I'm going to be the mama bear. And at the same time, I could also be the mama eagle that says, you know what, you gotta fly. I'm pushing you out of the nest right now.
Yeah.
In other words, it's if I feel that somebody is unconsciously or otherwise playing the victim,
you let them know.
I let them know.
Yeah.
And then I show them how to get out of it.
That's amazing. Well, Dr. Irene, you are amazing. And we're going to schedule a live soon so that we can have some extended conversation about this stuff, and maybe even I'll invite my daughter-in-law to be on, so that way she can ask some questions to her. Something, I don't know if she'll do it, but something like that. If you're not connected to Dr. Irene, if you're not following her, and if you're not engaging with her, you are definitely missing out. You really need to. Dr. Irene, thank you again for being on. I really, truly appreciate it. And I appreciate everything that you're doing.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a wonderful day.
You too.